we had from the previous session, and then today we are going to do something unique and special. We are going to create our own page instead of using the default page. But then we know that in the main file, we have these main functions, and then we have a simple first class that we don't change. We don't do much change over here. When we will do change, we will come back to that. But it's a main one that you need to keep here. And then the only thing you're concerned about is the title of your app, right? And then at the home, you have to submit the first page that you have, right? The first page that when the app is running, the very first page that you need to have. Okay, so in this session, I have an emulator. If you are lucky to have an emulator on your own, then that's fine. I mean, I have an emulator which I'll be using throughout, right? So for you to have the emulator, explore how to get Visual Studio Code, Android Studio, um, Visual Studio Community to be able to run the emulator, do all the settings, right? There are videos online that help you quickly do that. But then I'm using an emulator. You can use your device or you can just directly go and use the Chrome, which is also a very good alternative, right? So this is my emulator here. Let me put it on the side here so that let me also shift this one here like this so that we can have both. Let me have this guy in this corner, choose this one here. Um, this one up. Let me just position them more right so that we'll be seeing the reflex on the side. Currently, let me run this up right. I'm going to run it right to show on the Flutter run. And it's going to run on the emulator for me. That's what I want to have. Right. So let's see the face of the app first, the state of the app at this moment before we can proceed. Let's wait for it to run. So while that is running, we are waiting for it to run. Yeah, so we see that we submit our first app, right? And this first app currently, this is my home page bar or screen, is the one that you are submitting. Is down here, it's in the same bar, right? It's over down here, all these things. That's the actual app, right? The actual page that was created by default, and then that's what was submitted here. You see the name here. So we are not going to use this one. So what we do is that we go to the main. So I'm clicking on the main dot start here, and I'm going to create a new file. You can click on this one, or you can right click and then go to new file. There is new file. No, I think yeah, right click. You have to go to new screen on run code. I've not been using this new site, right? So let me go inside and see. Let me click on the dot. New file, so when you go inside and do it doesn't so you go and click on the folder. This one continues in this folder, LID folder. Right? Click on it, like, click on new file, right? Click on new file. You come, let's call it um, home screen, home screen dot that. Here I'm calling it home screen dot that. Yeah, so I'm creating that file. Where is the file? Supposed to appear here. My machine is running slow today. Yeah, so the file is created. And then this one too, we are waiting for it to run. This is still running. Going to run on this particular screen for me. Yeah, but then this is what I have. It's the first time running it on this app on this virtual um, device. That's why it's taking time. So yeah, but then right now you see I created a new file. Make sure that the file ends with .dat because we are using the .dat file, the main .dat, right? And inside it we have all these planes and stuff. So what we do is that we go to the main home screen .dat, right? This is where we create our own class. Remember, it's going to be a class. And I say there are two kind of classes, right? So we are going to definitely be creating a page. So when it comes to a mobile app, there are two things. You are either creating a page or you are creating a component to put on the page. Either you are creating a page or a component to put on the page, right? We'll see the difference soon based on what it is returning, based on what the class you are having is returning. You're going to decide whether that is going to be a page or it's going to be a component that you add on the page. Right? But then we are going to first start on the page first. Now, when it comes to mobile app, we don't call them pages, we call them screens. Like screen one, screen two, screen three, screen four, but basically the same as pages, right? Or routes. But then basically let's we call it screen. Okay, so that's why I call this one home screen. Okay, so how do we now create these pages? Now, in Flutter, there are two main kind of basic classes that exist: stateful and stateless widget. So, stateful and stateless widget. Widgets, that term widget has come again, and I talk about widget already. I said a widget is a special class that is built in Flutter already. Right? It's built in Flutter already, so there's nothing you can do about it. And then, so you based on that, you build on top of those one. You need to learn how to use those widgets, and then they usually come with classes. So we learn how to create a class already. So there are two types of classes. There are stateful, and then there is stateless. So if your page is going to contain a component that will be reflecting changes on that particular page, then use stateful. Stateless means for stateless, the change will not reflect automatically and yet unless you refresh the page before you see it. But if your page is going to be mostly this one, I mostly call it read only page. This is a read only page, right? You cannot make any change, right? But this one, um, how do you call it? Updates changes automatically. So if you want to see changes automatically, you will see it. Right? So we have stateful and stateless. If you are creating a page that is not going to be making any change, right? That class will be inheriting from a stateless class, stateless widget, and then right if it is going to be stateful, making a change, then you see that then it's going to be stateful. So let's see that this is the one we had originally, right? So if I press on this thing, you see the button. It is ignore what is happening at the bottom here. Focus on the my screen here. You can see it's changing. This is what we have on the mobile app. Now, see when I click on it, it is changing, right? Because this one is a stateful page. Now let's go back to the home screen, the main page. If you go to the main page, you see this thing itself, right? What is this saying? It is saying my class, my app extend stateless widget. Stateless means that you are going to have means that you are just going to have how do you call it? Um, the page, this page, the change cannot occur on it automatically. It will not update changes automatically, right? That's how one way of understanding it. But later, when we are moving forward, we'll actually talk about the um, professional terms here. Now, so this is what we have about that, right? And that's for this class. That's for that class here, right? Stateless, because it's going to basically take the home and then it's going to take my page. So that's about that class. But if you go to this my home page, this is the screen that is actually showing. This is my home page. This is the one that is actually showing here. But if you go to you see that it is stateful with it. Because on this class, you can see changes happening, right? On this page, the change is happening on this page. This first one that you see is just one that you submit your first screen to. You submit your first screen to, and this one is going to actually show the first screen. That's all. But on that first screen, so that's why this one is stateless. The first one is stateless. But then the actual page is stateful because we are doing changes. If we are not going to have any change, any effect, and seeing change automatically, then we have used stateless already. Okay, let's go back to our default home screen. We are going to start from the very simplest one, which is the stateless. We are not going to start from this. So now, how do we do that? So we are going to first develop our own stateless class. So right now, you can see the first code. It is very simple to use. some short. You just will state STL, right? Then you see this side, the stateless class widget. Click on it. Let me go do that again. Let me do that. I said we are creating a stateless class. Stateless page, right? With a class basically going to act as a page for us. So we do STL, and then among the options that VSO gives you, select this one, STLESS, stateless, stands for stateless page. You just click on it, right? When you click on it, this thing will show, and this thing will blinking at two positions, this and this two positions. You need to make sure that you write the name of the page. Automatically to reflect on both. You say my screen. Let's call it my first screen. My first screen. See how I'm writing the name? I'm using the we have to basically start from um, very first screen here. You have to start from capital letter. We talk about how to name a class. So and using uppercase, hammer case, right? My first screen. You see it reflects over here automatically. But there are red things I have here. So now what happened is that these things are not they have to this stateless widget and things they have to come from Flutter itself. So you need to import something. To make that import, I'm going to help you to know how to use this thing. You see this lamp over here, you're going to know how to use it. There's an error here, right? So you put the make sure that you click and the cursor is on the error. When the cursor is on the arrow, you go here, you go and click on the lamp, right? The red lamp. I click on it. It will tell you that you have to import a library. So it will you click on it and it will do it for you. Import that library. And this is what we're looking for. This is from Flutter. This is from Flutter itself, right? You need to use it. And that is it is this import that contains this and this. So if you comment it, but then you don't bring it, there'll be an error because they don't know where they come from. But if you bring it up, then all this error is away. Okay. Now, so we have our simple first stateless class, right? We need to remove this one and make sure we have this. But this is not going to return give us this is not yet a screen yet. It's not yet a screen yet. Why? Because you see this override, under this override, the build, there's a build function. This is where you do most of the stuff, right? So for this one to return a string, right, we need to make sure that what you are returning is not a container. You don't return a container. You return a widget called scaffold. Yes, you return scaffold. And scaffold is going to be, if you are returning a scaffold, then you are making a page or a screen. But if you do the previous, what was here was container, right? Container is not a scaffold. Whenever you use container or any other thing, that's like you are creating a component. Because I told you that we are going to be using component and screen. Component and screen. So for you to have a screen or a page, you need to first have a page, and on top of the page, you put a component. So the very first thing is to have screen. For you to have a screen, make sure you are returning scaffold. If you are not returning a scaffold, meaning you are creating a component, and you're not going to see a page. Right? Now, currently, nothing is going to run over there. Nothing is going to happen to this scaffold. Now, what we go to, let's go to this main dot that, right? Right. So you are going to delete this whole thing that is here. The whole screen that was there, yeah, I'm deleting it, right? So, and this one is going to go away. But then, yeah, so this is going to go away. But then the home needs to have another screen that we created. The screen that we created is called my first screen, right? So I'm going to do make sure you bring the const call it my first screen. So as I'm typing, you see it shows over here. When you're typing and it comes and you want to use it, you have to select it. When you select it, it will help you do the import automatically. You see now, first we were having this originally, but now we have the screen that you just created on this page being imported automatically because when I was typing and I selected it came, right? Okay, so this is what shows up for us. Now, what's the issue now? What's the issue now? We need to see this updated screen here because this one we don't have anything but right now. Yeah, we need to change it. Okay, so now it brings me to how to now make a change. Now I'm going to click on this in this particular terminal. I'm clicking in the terminal now. So I'm clicking in the terminal. When I click on the terminal, there are two ways. It's going to be capital R and small r. We can say R as restart or reload, but it's basically reload. We call it port reload. So when you do capital R, it means that the app should restart altogether afresh. If you do small r, you just mean that okay, update from this point, update from this point, update from this point. That's just small r. But if you are doing capital R, mean that okay, restart the whole app for me. The app should start from scratch. But if you do small r, you're going to update from this point for me. In this case, we have changed the home screen, the very first screen, so you can do any, but I'm going to do capital R for now. So I did capital R in the screen, and then you see everywhere is white. Everywhere is white because this page is just returning. This first screen is just returning, and so we need to go there. Right? It's just white because on that screen we are just returning a page. Nothing is on that page. We are returning stuff. Now you need to actually be doing some stuff, right? So now we need to everything is going to be inside this bracket. Inside this bracket, you need to open it up. So you see, it's what I did. The cursor was in the bracket, then I pressed the enter key, then it is inside. Now we need to set an up bar here. So there are basic things that these things contain. So for you to see everything that a particular widget contains, you have to put your cursor on it. And VS Code will expose everything that it contains, right? If you see this reading, the app key, up bar, body, putting action button, and putting action button location. A lot of them are plenty here. Bottom sheet, background color, a lot of stuff that are inside here. Right. So we are going to start with the basic ones. So these are the things that we will see. I will first start with the basic one, which is the app bar. Let's go to app bar. So let me go app bar. So it's here, right? So click on it. Now capital app bar. So this one is capital app bar now, right? So I'm going to do small r and see if something will come. So still nothing has come yet because we just put an app bar there, but that app bar does not have anything at the moment. So now inside this app bar, inside this app bar, I'm going to have app bar. I'm going to have something like body as well. So but let me focus on the app bar first. Let me focus on the app bar first. Inside this app bar, I'll open this app bar too. So this app bar is from here to here, right? So there's a comma at the end. But inside this app bar, you have to see this scene. Let's say I hover over it. I think it contains many other things too. It contains title, it contains leading and automatically implied leading and also contains many things, right? So I'm going to just use for the app bar, I'm going to use title. So for the title, it's going to be a text. I'm going to put a text there, right? And then inside the text, this is where we put my study app. So let me just do small r. You see my study app shows here. My study app shows here. Before this is going to. Now let's go to set the color. Right. Let me set color. Mm, so let's set color. Let me see background color. Yeah, let's set the background color. So it's color dot yellow. That's what I'm doing. So to set the color, this is how we call it. This is the background color, right? For the page, and I'm saying that for that background color, it's going to be. Remember, we are just still in the app bar. Right? I want to put a color there so you can see the difference. Let me put small r. So now this is the app bar. The app bar is now having um, this side. Right? So right now I'm going to center the title. So right. So let's say center title. If you center the title, you set it to true. This one is if you see true or false, what it does is that it's going to center that title that we wrote. This is the title that we wrote. Right? If you don't set this center title, it's going to start from the edge. But then if you do small r now, you see that it goes to the middle of the page, right? Must step it up. This is center title. Do that. This is just on top here. That's what the app bar does, right? So that's a simple one of the app bar. So you can look at so this app bar contains stuff, various stuff. and one of them is title, one of them is this, and one of them is that, right? And I'm seeing the effect automatically, right? Another thing is, so aside the app bar, remember app bar, this app bar is inside the scaffold, right? It's inside the scaffold. And then this scaffold, this app bar is just one thing. This is just one thing of the distance. So you see, Flutter helps you that you see this name here, app bar over here. Just telling the end of the app bar thing. So the end of the app bar is here. And this one is showing you the end of the scaffold. The scaffold here, this is the end of it. So it comes automatically when you are writing. You don't do it yourself. Right? It's helping you to see what this one ends. This app bar that is this is the end of it. This scaffold that you're getting here, this is the end of it. But we are going to stay inside. So inside this, we are going to the next thing. Let's call body. Remember, the body is part of the scaffold, right? Because we are outside the app bar. Remember, app bar ends here. And app bar ends here, but scaffold ends here, and we are still within what? Body. We are within the body. So we are going to talk about the body here. Right? So in the body, I'm going to put a text widget. If whenever you want to use a text on the screen, right? Whenever you want to use a text on the screen, you want to write something, you use text widget, capital T. You know, it's a test. So that's how we did it over here. I did test, and inside the test, I passed the actual thing, right? But here too, whenever you want to write a test, you make sure you bring test. The minute you are going to write, and then a test is like a string. So you put use string, all right, and then you say this is the body of my page, and it shows here, right? So now we are going to do refresh. Then you see this is the body of my of this is the body of my page is written here, right? It's written over here. Marianne, okay. This is to let's center it. Let's put it in the let's put this in the middle of the page so that it will be bigger. So for that reason, right, I'm going to clean this for now. I'm going to clean it and say and call a widget called center. Close it. No, comma, because we are saying inside the scaffold. Now inside the center, I'm going to open the center and do child. Child is going to be actually the text that I wrote and call it this is the body of my page. Right, this is what shows there. Okay, so now what I do is that first I called center, right? The center is a widget, and that widget, if you want to put a widget within another widget, you use child. You use child, right? This center, for example, right, contain child. So this particular widget is outside of this child. The child of this widget is going to contain a text. Okay. Some of them don't show on the page, some of them show directly, have effect on the UI directly, right? Yeah, whenever you have to put something inside another widget, you use a child, but you have to study what it is. So if you put hover on center, this center takes child, it is height factor, it is width factor, right? Yes, so that's what happened. That's how you can see the screen. So I'm not able to run it. This is the body of my page. Now let's run this small r. Now you see that it is now in the middle. This is the body of my page. And yeah, so I want you to do this at your end, right? Where you now don't do study my page, but then I want you to write something else, right? Write the title of your page, and then also be able to write your name here. Write your name here, right? This here instead of into let's say my name is blah blah blah. So whoever you are, let's write your name. Then do this. Let's submit it to me for me to see so that we can proceed to the next concept.